So I'm going to do Plato's Parable of the Cave. I'm going to give examples. I'm hoping I can remember these examples, but I will give these examples as to what that means. Real examples, real life examples. And I'm glad that hopefully you guys will find me and find this. Hi, how are you guys? I don't think I know you, but I'm waiting for more people to join. I'm doing this live for a gentleman who's going through a dark night of the soul. And I'm doing this so that he understands that there are illusions that are entrenched and that we are being asked to do impossible tasks, that's seemingly impossible. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is the Plato's Parable of the Cave. The second thing I'm going to do is go ahead and give you some examples, some real world examples that may help you understand Plato's Parable of the Cave. Remember, Plato is the one who first talked about twin flames. He talked about twin flames, Troy, the existence of Troy, which was found. Excuse me. He spoke about Atlantis. Yeah, the guy was no idiot. He knew stuff. So Plato's Parable of the Cave is the understanding of the hive mentality. No denigration to bees, believe me, because I have great respect for bees. But a hive mentality that is so entrenched in the society's mores that they make people do things that are inhuman or what have you. So when you go through a spiritual awakening, okay, and you're surrounded by people who are still in the twilight zone of 3D logical thinking, which is funny as hell because 3D logic is against, it leans against, is supported by society's mores, society's agreement of a certain thing that is a truth now, but will be looked at as ridiculous in years to come. And so 3D logic is precarious. Okay? It is precarious. The only thing you can really rely on in logic is mathematics. Because mathematics is universal. And I mean that quite literally. Universal, galactical. Sanskrit is universal because it is a mathematic. But when I get more than 5 people, I'll tell you the story of Plato's Parable of the Cave. I think it's important because it's going to make you understand that you're not being asked to convince people of a new truth or of your new awakening. That's not the point of your awakening, is to try to convince those that are close to you, near to your elbows, meaning your friends and family. Yeah, we're not asking you to convince them that what you're going through, the awakenings that you're so excited to share, is real. That's not why it's happening. You have to know your audience. And it's funny because I did an oracle card reading and it talked about the very thing. You might want to just be mommy, daddy, sister, brother, uncle, aunt, whatever. Play that role and leave the role of the awakened self to strangers who aren't strangers, who may not be strangers, who might be actually your soul tribe family gathering around you, or you gathering around them. Does that make sense so far? Any questions on that? Because I'm waiting for 4 more people. Please share the live. I'm being shadow banned because I've been a very vocal woman about many things going on unfairly on the planet. And so, so if you could share the live, I'd really appreciate it. Because I want people to understand. So when you're ready, and when you're ready to hear about Plato's Parable of the Cave, which there's a way I say it that is very easy to digest and pretty much a no-brainer to figure out. And when you're ready, let me know. And also invite others. Share the live. There's a little arrow on the bottom that you can share the live with your people. And we're going to start in a minute. I'm waiting for 9 people. Why? Because 9 is a magic number. It's God's number. It's a powerful number. Very, very powerful. It's co-creation. The crown chakra, 999 hertz music is what you should be listening to. Hi, Jake. Okay, you're here. Perfect. I'm doing this for this particular gentleman going through some shit. Okay. As you get awakened, especially if you've been in a coma, no offense to all of you, okay? Some of us awoke a long time ago. In fact, we woke born, okay? We were awake born. Why? Because we were some of the ones that were paving the roads, so that when this day happened, there would be people like us, like me, Shay, Claudia, other people on that level who would be aware and step into our mission to talk to you guys. And then there was those that were kept in a coma. Think of you guys as astronauts, going through space, and for your own protection and to protect resources, you were all put in these beautiful bubbles, okay, in amniotic fluid to sleep. While we astronauts that were left awake were here to take care of shit until we landed into the awakened state we are today. Okay, with that said, so there's this story, Plato's parable of the cave. There's a man that lives in the cave in the very, very reaches in the bottom bowels of the cave. I mean, so far down, it's miles down. There's a whole society, a whole village that lives down there, and they've never been out of the cave. They have everything they need: water, food, substance of every kind, and they have lived there for generations. And one day, who knows why, curiosity hits him, and he starts exploring the cave. I mean, he'd always explored it. There were trees and branches and quartz crystals and all kinds of things going on. But he decided to go and just explore. And so as he started exploring, he went on for hours, and he felt wind that had the sweetness of honeysuckle. And he had never smelled that. He didn't know what that sweetness was. And so he started walking out, and eyes open, eyes closed. It didn't matter that he was just going by instincts, feeling the roughness of the rocks as he came out. And before he knew it, he stepped out to see the sight, the wondrous sight of the sun setting. He had never seen that. And it was good that it was the sun setting, because his eyes, he was like almost like a marsupial. He'd never been around sun. So the fact that it was setting was the perfect way for him to get recalibrated, so his eyes could, get used to different light. And as the sun set, the moon rose, and within the glow of the moon, he explored woods, and he heard the sound of rivers, and he could smell ocean, but he didn't know what that was. And he saw fruits, pears, and different types of fruit that he started eating, and it was running down his chin, and juicy, beautiful, fragrant flavors were exploding in his mouth, and he was like, this is incredible. And he stayed there for, say, 2-3 days. He saw the sunrise and the sunset, and when the sun rose, he would explore through the woods and through the mountains, and different things were like just hitting him with awe and bliss. And there was a touch of fear, because he wasn't sure what was this. And he came across wild animals. And for whatever reason, he was divinely protected from the bear and the wolf and the cougar. And he decided, this is incredible. I've got to tell them this exists. So he went back down into the cave, miles and miles. It took him hours to come back to his people. And he said to his people, there's these wondrous, I don't even have names for what I saw. This is like, I've never seen anything like, but the perfume of these things that he was talking about, flowers, and the tastes in my mouth of things we've never eaten. He was talking about fruits. And they were all saying, no, you're crazy. It was a dream. You dreamt. We were wondering where you were, and you must have hit your head. And he actually believed them. And so for weeks he sat there. But the visions of what he had seen haunted him. And he couldn't deny it anymore. And so in the dead of night, when all were sleeping, he decided to make his way out of the cave. And it took him hours until he saw the full moon rising. And again, and this time he stayed for 3 weeks. He explored everything. He swam with fish. He actually got to walk to the ocean and saw the waves crashing on sand, and he felt the sweetness of his feet touching sand, this weird soft grittiness beneath his feet. And he could smell the sea spray of the ocean, the iodine in the air. And his hair curled from all of that salt. And he was like, you know what? They're buried alive down there. They're buried alive. I have to tell him. So he made his way back to the cave. And he went all the way down and spoke to the elders. And he said this, and he started describing the best he could what he had seen. And he was pulling on them and saying, no, come. You're buried alive. You've got to come out of here. Come on. And you know what they did? They started hitting him and attacking him and hitting him with stones. And they tore him limb from limb. The moral of the story is, you cannot bring people out of what they think is real. And that if you insist, it could destroy you. It could hurt you because they're not ready. They're so not ready that they rather be in their ignorant, safe comfort zone than to ever explore what you are offering them. And that is why this story has always hit me really hard and in a beautiful way, to understand that you can't make people wake up unless they're ready. You can't. Any questions on that story? And believe me, I rewrote it in my own way because it's told a different way. He wrote it in a different way, but this is the way I like to share it. Any questions or any comments on that? Anything you want to share? What was your takeaway from this parable of the caves? Does it hurt you to hear that it's such a real understanding of hive mentality that Plato wrote about it, and he understood it that many, millennia ago. He understood that people just can't do and go beyond what their 3D mind is entrenched in. And that's why sacred medicine, plant medicine, has also taken has been a huge influence in people doing the final kicking the final 3D door into expansive consciousness, right? Transcendental thinking. Hey, Jen. And so, any question on Parable of the Cave? Because I'm really interested. I'd like you to share with the collective. I mean, there's only, 8 of us? And again, everything I'm sharing with you is a twin flame journey. And this is why many twin flame creators don't get. When a twin flame creator tells you, or coach tells you that he has, and there's a particular person, he has united 5,000 people, I call bullshit. Why? Because you've got to get to the level of consciousness I'm talking about. And both of you have to be on a similar page, both you and your twin. You understand? If you don't know this shit, you don't have a shot in hell in being in a lasting union with your twin. You will be in union. Don't go in and out. It'll be a revolving door for the rest of your life. It always spoke to me, and I read that in high school, wrote a paper and loved it. Yes. Random, and random girly, I did not say it the way it was actually written by Plato, right? And the reason I speak of it like that, is because it's quicker and it's more palatable. It goes boom, boom, boom. It's a very easy way to explain to someone that. But I always preface it by making sure they understand that I'm retelling the story. But ultimately, that's what you'll find. You'll find that people will get angry. Look at any dogmatic religious follower. My God, what are you talking about? My God, I explain it to me like I'm two. What do you mean your God? You mean source, God. You mean God with multiple names. Even Sappho, who is a famous poet, said, again, I'm paraphrasing because I forgot the piece. It's in her fragments. It's called Sappho Poems, Fragments and the person who translated her books was Mary Barnard. But she says that people who are redheaded will create God in their own image. And the God will have a red hair. And if you're blonde, he'll have blonde hair. And if you're black, he'll have black skin and curly hair, frizzy hair. And if you're Asian, he'll be Asiatic with long straight hair or whatever, right? And so that's what's interesting about this idea of dogma in religion. That's why most of you coming into your spirituality, your awakening, and spirituality out-trumps forever any religious situation, because it was there when we were made as souls, spirit souls. There's no, the concept of New Age is a misnomer, and it's actually insulting because it's always been there. We've always had shamans. We've always had druids and druidesses. We've always had high priests and high priestesses. We've always had people who understood the magnificence of nature, connection, and the celestial constellation. We've always had that. And then religions came. And it's sad too, because a lot of the great avatars did not come in to subjugate us. They were trying to free us, but so you know what I'm saying. So they're brainwashing people to believe this stuff. They are forgetting that this is based on energy. Yes, we come across people like this all the time. They are trapped. Yes, the energy has to be the same. Exactly. So it's quite interesting, how afraid people are. So an example, I'm going to give you a real example that actually happened to me. Okay, just so you know. So I knew this born again Christian, and for his own admission, he had done some pretty funky shit, okay, before he became a born again Christian, and he was a pastor. And I was excited because I'd read an article. This was, I think I was in my late 30s, early 40s. And I'd read an article that Pope Benedict, okay, in I forgot, 12th century, I don't remember, definitely before the 15th century or thereabouts, 15th, 16th century, had decided to combine the three Marys, the Mary who was a whore, the Mary who washed Jesus's feet with her hair, and Mary of Magdalene, combining them. And I was so excited to tell him, hey, Mary wasn't a whore. She was like a really cool girl, and she was like totally connected with Yeshua, and she was a follower, and she was brilliant, and she was his equal. And he said, I can't hear that. I go, I'm sorry, what? I would think, a born-again Christian would want to know all the facts. And he went, no, I can't listen to that. I go, I don't understand. Why not? He goes, and this is what he said. He said, because if I listen to what you're about to say to me about Mary Magdalene, it actually will destroy my whole entire Christian beliefs. And I said to him, is your Christian belief so weak that it can't take truth? And we never spoke of it again. So this is a problem. And this is something Plato saw. So it's not something that has happened to us in the last 200-300 years or even 500 years. This is a human problem. And this is a problem that we have had to fight through our own incarnations. And this is why gaslighting is such a problem. But then they try to discount the spirit leading people, always. And Kay says, and that there is nothing new under the sun, and that they must seek, but fear is in the way. Yes. Kay, their own Bible tells them the truth will set them free. Exactly. Of life breathed from us from the Creator. Exactly. Okay, so let me read it in correct order. They talk about the Spirit coming into the body at first, breathe into the New Testament as the gift, or life breathed into us from the Creator. Hello all. Their own Bible tells them the truth will set them free, and that there's nothing new under the sun, and that they must seek, but fear is in the way. But then they try to discount the Spirit leading people. Is there any kind of strange energy happening today? Honey, today? Are you kidding me? The strange energy started October 7th, but it actually started in 2023. And the energy that got really, really strange, if you want to get the nucleus of it, because there's nothing really that's been easy on us as a collective across the world, started on January of 2020, is when the shit started feeling weird. February came in, and then by March, lockdown happened all over the world. And we got to see in 3 weeks what they could do. Do you understand? So that means to me, if they can organize themselves in 3 weeks and lock people down, damn near 3/4 of the planet, they can stop hunger, they can stop homelessness. They're pretty well organized when they want to be. That just shows me that the levels of poverty and everything is all man-made, clearly. Because when they want to organize and get us to do shit, it was done. And there was no questions, right? And it took brave people in France and England to hit the streets and the US to make some changes. So when you ask, is there a weird energy today? I'm not laughing, my friend. I'm telling you that we have to look at the very beginnings of it. And it has been a shit show. My twin told me a couple of days ago, he said, this whole thing will last 5 years. And I went, yeah. Well, we're in it for 3 now. We're on year 3. And he went, what do you mean? I said, lockdown was the beginning. That was the beginning of our hellish time. And I said to him, we have 2 more years. And I truly believe it. So that puts us at 2025. So things are going to, stop. This energy is going to stop, because this negative energy, this very dense, heavy energy, because many of you are waking from this deep slumber and realizing, and unfortunately, we're watching people suffer to open our eyes. And what's beautiful, unfortunately, about it, the double-edged sword, is that many of you are so beautiful as human beings. You are so in your humanity. You are so beautiful in your capacity to love people you will never meet, and to weep for people you will never meet. And that right there is what's keeping the powers that be, the other light beings, who are not going to harm us, who are not going to blow up this planet, which again, a shaman, I shouldn't even call her a shaman, a broken down spiritual person was saying that the world was being looked at and judged, and that we were going to not be here, in a year from now. And I can tell you that's not true, because the amount of love the people all over the world are showing is showing those light beings that, yeah, we're learning, we're waking up, and we are advocating for people we will never meet. And that right there was the test they needed to watch and witness from where, from other dimensions. They had to look at it, and we fucking came in strong. And so I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us as a collective of conscious, human, loving, empathic people. And that's what you need to really embrace. There is going to be weird energies all the way till the end of darkness falling. Mars is square in Saturn with today. Thank you. Not today or any day. It's a choice. It did not lock me down. To be honest with you, they tried to lock a lot of us down, and a lot of us moved to other places where none of that shit was happening. Like, for example, I ended up moving in Nevada City because I knew that the mayor was really super cool. She had to step down, but she was all against the vaccine, and she was all against the masking. She'd been a painter, a house painter. Okay, I'm not kidding. Again, Nevada City, pot growers up there. And she said, I've worn those masks, those paper masks, as a painter, as a house painter, and I have lung disease because of doing it. I didn't know. So from firsthand experience, I know those masks aren't good, and they're not going to do shit. And there was a wonderful guy who was a doctor in Ventura County who was Rashid, forgot his name, but he died this year. And of very mysterious circumstances, I'll just say that. But he was very, very vocal. He had his own clinic in Ventura County, and he was healing people that couldn't be healed, that were terminal. And so all I'm going to say to you is that when you ask me, and many people ask me, how is this related to the twin flame journey? The twin flame journey is that we are warrior shamans. That means we're warrior shamans. We're light bringers. We're Kuan Yin energy. We're Kali Ma energy. We are Durga energy. All of us are different energetic beings, obviously, and we're all needed. But we can't do our mission if we don't know who the hell we are. So the twin flame, it's all wrapped in it. And I really don't understand why people don't get that. I don't understand why people don't even get that. Every great divine couple, and I'm going to make you guys laugh. I'll even bring up Conan the Barbarian. If you've ever watched Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger, even he has a divine counterpart. I'm not kidding. And she's a badass. She's an Amazon. So you've got divine twin rays, which is Krishna, Radha, Yeshua and Mary Magdalena. And there's a couple that teaches yoga, Camille and something Roche. They're a twin ray couple. They teach meditation. They have classes. I've taken their classes, and their energies are absolutely stunning together. Let me see here. When you look for the love in this world, you surely find it, not your love, but the love. Exactly. And that's what we need to remember. That's why we cannot have any more sacred masculines giving up. Okay. That's why it says, seek and you shall find. Yes, that's not true, but the love and light never makes mainstream point of view. You will always find what you are looking for in this place. Ashley said, I went through deep spiritual awakening in 2020, met my TF in 2021. It's been quite a journey. Yes. When you look for the love in this world, you will surely find it. Not your love, but the love. I had to repeat that. They know that we are here and they are freaking out. That's why they're throwing everything at us. They can. Yes, exactly. Exactly. They are trying to bring us down and they can't. Exactly. I need to talk to you again, Tony, one-on-one. You got it. I'd be honored. Met a high vibe soul mate when things are getting serious. I'm having vivid dreams about my TF. Yeah. And you got to choose, you know, again, I'm going to tell you this story of this, and everything I'm saying is related. It goes right back to twin flames. Why? Because if you don't understand yourself as a spirit soul, if you don't understand the collective concept of spirit souls, if you don't understand how we have been subjugated successfully for a serious 2,000 years, okay? If you wanted to read the Bible in your own common language, you were strung up, okay? This is not, it's not rhetoric, it's truth, it's documented. And this goes with damn near almost every religion. I think the only religion that doesn't like do that, push their agenda to that level of violence, are the Buddhists, I would say. And I'm not Buddhist either, but there's nothing wrong with Buddhism. It saved Tina Turner's life, literally. So, and you know why? Because she was chanting. So chanting mantras, let's go back to that. Chanting mantras will control your monkey mind while you're going through the dark night of the soul and twin flame separation. It will not take away the pain, but what it does is make the pain transcendental. Does that make sense? And that's why I tell people to chant all the time, and I give them various mantras. I never met anything remotely close to my TF. I get you. They can take our flesh, but not our souls. Oh, yeah, yeah. We do not consent. We do not consent. This is what Shay was talking about, is a hashtag that we have. You need to check out my lives, guys, because there's some good nuggets of wonderful, powerful warriors that I've talked to. And you need to check it out, okay? But anyway, she wants us to do a hashtag called hashtag we do not consent. And what it does, vibrationally speaking, is it tells the universe and the collective of the 1%. You know, I'm calling them Zionists now, all of them, the 1%, because they don't come under one banner at all. There are multiple races and multiple backgrounds and multiple religious beliefs. They're also Muslims. I'm not kidding. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that. But what we're looking at here is we're looking at a conscious shift, transcendental shift, so that the twin flame separation doesn't destroy you. It doesn't destroy you. It makes you move on. Do you know what I mean? It makes you connect with the light beings who are surrounding you every step of the way. And the way I knew that, I mean, I knew that, you know, hypothetically speaking, I knew that, like, you know, but I was chanting, I'm just going to tell you what I was chanting, Hare Krishna, for 30 days straight. I was living in Malibu Beach, right in Zuma Beach. And I was me and my twin would get up at 7:30 in the morning and start running that mile. And I would run that mile, you know, knee deep in the ocean, chanting Hare Krishna. After 30 days of doing that, I saw I'm not joking, I saw light beings, hundreds of them around me, tall ones, short ones, my height, light beings walking with me with white, bluish type of light, okay? And I was like, whoa. And I didn't want to blink. I didn't want to blink my eyes because I knew if I blinked, they'd be gone. And so they faded away because I did not blink. I could not blink. I was like, oh my God. And then I put it together. I did a video on that, by the way, but I put it together that me chanting a high vibrational mantra next to the ocean being a conduit, right? It's an activator, right? It activates negativity or positivity, right? We know that with Dr. Emoto's water studies, a Japanese scientist. I realized that I had tapped into something that I had breached 5D. I was in 5D. And that's why I was, I was able to see him. And so what I tell my clients is if you're going to take a shower, do a mantra. If you need money, do a mantra of money. If you need but do not take a bath and cry. Like, don't do that. Like, go on Pachamama and cry. Go on Mother Earth and cry. Sit in your porch and cry. But when you get into that bathtub or shower, use that to transmute and transform your desperate, dark thoughts by chanting a mantra and trying to raise your vibration. Smile, even if it's a lie. Smile. They've even done studies when people smile physically, that there's a shift in the brain. and the chemistry in the body. So it's not like, thank you, Buffy. That's really sweet of you to do that. I appreciate the gift badger. I really appreciate that. I didn't know about the water. No wonder I felt so connected and missed jogging at the beach. Yeah, we did it every morning, and lockdown came, okay? And there was a sign on Zuma that said, if you go on this beach, I'm not joking, it will be $1,000 fine, and it will be jail time. It could include jail time. The big ass signs, okay? And there were cops to make sure. Can you fucking believe that shit? Like, I'm on the beach alone. Like, who the hell's gonna catch the COVID, okay? But anyway, so the day before I left to Ojai, California, I told my twin, look, I don't give a fuck. I gotta say goodbye to this beach one more time. So I went to Pirates Cove, and you guys who know Malibu, Zuma, you know what I'm talking about. And I went into Pirates Cove, and I sat to do a meditation, and some fucking Coast Guard actually damn near came right onto the beach with his boat and just sat there and said, get off the beach. And I'm like, there was no one there. In other words, this was not about me catching COVID or me passing COVID on to someone else. It was about power and abuse of power. And that's what we're seeing with the IDF, by the way, on the side note. That's what we're seeing, okay, with children, 5-year-olds, 3-year-olds. I'm not joking. So we're not supposed to allow this, because if they get away with this shit, then I can tell you it will come and start here. And the test run was the 2020, I'm not going to say it again. I don't want to be banned, okay? But I think we know, right? So that's why we have to understand. Everyone's asking me, what is the theme of this live? There is no theme. You'll notice. There is no theme. They want to control us. It's worse than control. It's subjugation. And there's a great book you might want to read called Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Have you ever read that? He wrote a lot of books, but he wrote Brave New World. He wrote The Doors of Perception about his trips on LSD. And Jim Morrison from The Doors took his name, The Doors, from that book. On a side note, just to give you a kick, because I really want you to read this book called Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. So in this book, he talks about alphas and betas, and he talks about people in these bubbles, right? Not people, babies. People don't give birth anymore. Okay, we're at the point where no one's giving birth anymore, and anyone's in these little capsules. And there are two types of pods. Let's call them pods. The baby pods that are alpha pods get all the oxygen, and the beta pods get the oxygen cut off every day for a few minutes. Multiple times a day, the oxygen's cut off to create betas. It's like a biological lobotomy, right? Because of lack of oxygen. And so this story is about a beta, and the beta is it's through his eyes. And the beta actually, because remember, the soul may come through a body that doesn't work fully well, but that doesn't mean the soul isn't powerful. And that's the story of a beta who actually breaks free from that system. And he gets to see his first pregnant. He'd never seen a woman that was pregnant. He'd never seen that before. So check out the book, because when Aldous Huxley wrote it, I believe in 1929, he was interviewed in 1959 and thereabouts. And he said, I thought I was writing a fiction. I mean, a sci-fi. He said, and this is him saying this in the 50s. I had no idea we were getting that close to reality. All right. So you might want to check out that book. And that's essentially what's happening. You were right. I didn't understand why many didn't see the abuse. We just needed a talking session. Yeah. So does that want any questions on that, or any shares about your own ideas about what happened and how is this related to twin flame, and why did twin flames? And I noticed that, by the way, just on the side note, just for you, some twin flames met when they were in high school. A lot of them. I have a lot of people who met at 14, 15, whatever. And then some of you didn't meet until 2017, 2018, thereabouts, right before the shit show started, basically. So it was almost like the first dark night of the soul, if you went through separation at that time, would have started for you. You would have been slammed on the first twin flame dark night of the soul. I think we need to coin that, because many of you have gone through dark night of the souls before you ever met your twin, right? So any shares that, or books you think we should talk about. Yeah, join us on Discord. Definitely join us on Discord. Jen just pinned it on the live. We were in our 40s and we met just before COVID. There you go. You can't make this shit up, my friend. And there's a reason. And especially for the divine masculine, because Jake, you are divine masculine. You're going through it and you're getting, and everything you thought was real is being demolished. In other words, the false foundations are being absolutely, there's a fucking bulldozer taking everything down. And most people will bemoan it and go, oh my God. And in truth, it's like, bring it on, man. I want the truth. I want to live in truth. I want to walk in truth. I want to walk in my light. And that's going to make you a very powerful shamanic warrior. And we need many, many shamanic warriors. And some of the things I read yesterday, for you who were on my live yesterday, I was reading from the book, The Woman in the Alabaster Jar. And the absolute vehemence that the church had against, the Catholic Church had against men and women, priests marrying women, and the concept of sexual intimacy with a feminine and a masculine. I mean, just the poison. So we've been like dealing with this shaming for 2,000 years of samskaras for a long time. So the root chakra, sacral chakra, Harat chakra have been kicked, and it's stored a lot of gunky stuff on every incarnation we've come to. And again, you're going to ask me, well, how is that twin flame related? All of it. Because you see, if your twin flame has sexual issues that you can't pinpoint, or they've been sexually abused or whatever, anything happened, but it's not just this incarnation. That's why they're stuck in the mud and they're in addiction mode, because they're also dealing with the samskars, which means in Sanskrit impressions from other incarnations, which would have been of sexual shaming of babies, of children. Oh my God. And that's insane. That's insane that we are not protecting our children. That's why we have such a problem with, PEDO, okay? Because people don't understand that this is something that is never to be acceptable. Never to be acceptable. But the church was so, when you oppress people's innate, beautiful, tantric sexual energy and capacity for intimacy, it twists into deviant behaviors, which is what we saw. We saw it, right? Ida shared a lot of myself on Discord about what I feel, and we'll go through. Yeah, you have been sharing a lot. It's beautiful. And we appreciate that. Will you truly know when you meet your twin flame, or could there be questioning and doubts? There's always questioning and doubts no matter what. But to be honest with you, I help people kind of get to it. I have clients who actually don't want it to be a twin flame. And sadly, I'll say, sadly, it is your twin flame. Or they'll say, or I'll have clients who say, is this a twin flame? I'll go, actually, no, it's not. And it's not. And there's things I do to look at that. I don't just throw tarot. I do numerology. I do we find out what your deal is for you, and I do tarot psychic readings. And between the numerology and that, and what you're saying, and the downloads I'm getting, I'd say 90% of the time, I'm not infallible. Hello, I'm a human, but I can tell if it's a twin, because there's certain cards that just keep coming up again and again and again. I get the downloads, and it's insane. So I think you're responding to that right now. I've been doubting. I found out. Well, yeah. So there's a lot. Okay. So everything that I'm sharing, like I did Anushka, who did a talk with me about trauma bonding. And for you guys who might be told that you're going through trauma bonding, check out that video. It's there on YouTube. And she was trained. She's a PhD in psychology, and she's got a huge following up. Something like 122,000 people follow her on YouTube. And she was gracious to allow me to talk with her. She's a client of mine, by the way. And it was... yeah, we talked about trauma bonding. This shit's not trauma bonding. Believe me, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. And the thing is that even if you are in a twin flame / trauma bonding, eventually the trauma bonding can be healed through talk therapy or hypnotherapy or whatever. But the twin flame part keeps you tethered. And so this is about you becoming transcendental. Trauma bonding resonates so much. Yeah, but watch that before you make a decision. Go look at that video. My twin understands me better than I thought. Oh, good. You're lucky. That's, I'd say, luck. So I just wanted to do this live today to talk about she knows when I'm struggling. Yeah. And yeah, we need to talk because we need to understand why you guys aren't in union. You should be. My twin flame split across the country and no communication. He had addictions. Addictions is trauma. And addictions is also a component of star seeds, many star seeds. What's the video again? Just look it up. It says Anushka. It's on my YouTube channel. Just look up. You'll see Anushka. Just look up. There's not that many live videos that I've got that I put up. It's probably the fifth one, or in other words, go from the top. The first ones I just uploaded from yesterday. One's called Peace Talks. The other one's called Millennial Talks, and then just scroll down. I feel so disconnected from my twin. Well, we have both significant others. That's the biggest hurdle. I get you. Yeah, that is a hurdle. But again, the question is, why are you with... In other words, there are soul contracts that might be, being wrapped up with these significant others, these other partners. There's a lot involved in that, like, for example, when my twin and I reconnected in 2008, because I thought he had dropped his body. I was like, holy shit, did he drop his body? And I got a message, no, he's alive and he's coming, right? From a reader I went to. And because I couldn't read for myself, I was like not able to read for myself for that question. It was like fucking frustrating. So I went to a reader. Long story short, in 2008, we were back in communication after 27 years. I had an 8-year-old child. There's no way I was going anywhere. Yeah, I know it's a lot. Yeah. So I wasn't going to go anywhere. What, leave my 8-year-old child, or take my 8-year-old child into the unknowns? That was not going to happen. So I didn't do that. And then in 2014 is when we came into our first union. And I don't know, I think sometimes there's a reason why it's best to stay with your high-level soulmate. I really do. I think that... but you got to understand, this is a spiritual awakening. And that people are so caught up in the sex. I'm not joking. The sex, the awakening, this feeling of being home, all of that. They're so wrapped into that they lose sight of what it is. I know, because I was one of them. So it's not like I'm blaming anybody. I get it. It's hard. But at some point, when you get into the dark night of the soul, a couple times, because there's betrayals or chaser runner dynamics, you got to kind of start asking the right questions. I'm sorry. And they're not, oh, why is he with her or him? It's, what am I supposed to be doing and understanding spiritually about this connection, my connection with source, my connection with myself, and my own, feeling that I need to be with this person to complete my life path. And those are things I had to do. And I did them. And I think that if I had been in union sooner, young, like maybe he would have been in his 40s and I would have been in my 20s, that kind of thing, it wouldn't have worked, because we would have cannibalized each other, because I'm an alpha female and he's an alpha male. You have to understand your situation with certain soul connections. It wouldn't have worked. And my high-level soulmate let me free, for the most part, was very supportive of my art, of my work, of what I did, of how I expressed myself. Because for a while I was doing a lot of erotic writing, I was being published, and erotic art, And not every man, okay? Let's be honest. Not every man would be comfortable with that. I'm not with a high-level soulmate, that's for sure. Yes, I am that for sure. And is one attribute for twin flames to trigger each other? I don't know if that even makes sense. Yeah, no, actually, the whole aspect is to trigger you. Need the right questions and working on myself, and why this need as a desire all the time. Right. What to do when feeling disconnected from twin? Well, I talk about it every day. I kind of talk about it every single day. Yep, we are alphas for sure as well. Yeah, and that's a problem. I'm going to be straight up. It's a problem. It's a problem because the alpha is a concept that gets bastardized with the 3D egoic framework, wing body. Many of our souls are also alphas. Do you understand? Even our souls are alphas, but there's a purity and more truth to that, I believe. Not always, though, I've got to be honest. But for the most part, it's a little more self-aware, and it's not going to digress to levels of fuckery. But when you are in these bodies, yeah, you're really triggered. No, don't be sorry. I'm just saying everything I'm talking about is what you should be looking at in terms of what to do when feeling disconnected from twin. What should we do when triggers come up? Sit with it. You should sit with that shit and fucking look, and journal it, and automatic writing with it. In other words, you've got your eyes gazing out, and your hand is got a pen. You got a big ass notebook, and you're not looking at what you're writing, and you're letting your body tell you things you don't even want to hear. That's how you do it. You got to ask the right questions, my friends, and you need to be like so sick and tired of your life as it is that you will do anything to uncover the truth of what you are in this whole thing called this incarnation, of whatever name you embody in this incarnation. What about 2 betas? Just wondering. I think 2 betas are runners. 2 betas are more likely runners. They're more likely covert and inverted, and that's a problem too. I got to run still with family for the weekend. I will reach out again, talking to you soon. Okay, I'll end the live soon. Man, I don't want to go. That's okay. I'll upload it as well. I'll upload this live for you guys on YouTube, so you guys can check out my Plato's Parable of the Cave. For those of you who missed it, it's important. You need to understand it. So have a good one, Jake. Do both TF have the same triggers, which is why it's triggered on both need, like self-worth, etc.? They're not exactly the same triggers, but they're triggers. They, in other words, self-worth may be experienced by your twin in a different way than your own self-worth issues. And both of you may have the self-worth problem that stems from the mother, your mother's. Does that make sense? Not your father's, for example. This is just an example, okay? It doesn't mean that does that make sense? Yes, that's it. Have a good one, Jake. Don't worry about yeah. So that's how it works. But you're not cookie cutters, guys. I know you're twin flames, but that doesn't mean you're even twins. In biological twins, fraternal exact identical twins are not identical in consciousness. Okay, even Siamese twins have their own souls and needs and desires. So let's not get into this weird thing that the ego makes us love and want the exact same our twin does. That's not true, actually, quite often. That's a problem, because it's not true. Our individuality, our individual desires and needs are deeply entrenched in these particular incarnations and bloodlines we've chosen, okay? Which also may be something that the twin wasn't able to handle in their past life. And so now you embody things that they never handled in past lives, and you now represent some of those things. You're great at explaining. I did a lot of self-discovery and healing while sick. Oh, well, good for you for taking me being sick as a time to really go deep diving into yourself. You're smart. You're fucking brilliant, because most people get sick and they'll watch Netflix for hours. The answers were crazy. No, they're not crazy. They were divine downloads. Fantastic. Congratulations. That's wonderful. I love that. I speak for the trees. Good for you. Sorry. When you guys ask me to join me, I don't do that. Just so you know, unless I know you and I've already talked to you and we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. But for the most part, I don't just invite people for chaotic noises and talks and things off topic and shit, because it's nothing personal. It's not that I don't want to talk or get to know you, but I prefer getting to know you first before I invite you to talk in this particular, in my lives. I had no choice. I wasn't going to heal otherwise. Exactly. I get you. Any other shares before I go? Anything that you guys want to share? Thank you for sharing that, Amanda. That was a beautiful share. Amada. That was a beautiful share. Anything else? Okay, so we're trying to set up a Patreon. I'm going to be setting up a Patreon soon, and we'll have a spiritual book club, transcendental book club in that, and we'll also have some. I'm going to be setting that up with Jen. And hopefully you guys will join. There'll be a basic, and then we also want to see if people want to do a paid forward, so that people who are poor, people who are going through some financial challenges, can also get the books that they need to join the book club, and for the membership. So a paid forward membership is what I'm looking at. Thank you for being particular about discussions. It's very reliable. Oh yeah, there's no way I'm just inviting whoever. I remember once inviting someone because I knew of them. I didn't know them, and they were sitting there crocheting and correcting everything I was saying. I was like, you know what, never fucking again. Only because it was ridiculous and it didn't add to the conversation. So you'll find that all of my lives that I've uploaded on YouTube, I've invited people to come on. They've been incredibly generous with their time, and the dialogue is unfucking believable. It's so much fun, and many of you have listened to these lives and you've enjoyed them as well. I know that because your feedback. So the live on Anushka is fantastic. She's one of the most amazing women. I've been so blessed to meet so many amazing women and men that are just coming. I feel so honored. I'm meeting some spectacular people, let me tell you. So I love the paid forward. Yeah, and thank you for being, yes, thank you, Pedrita. So anything else you want to share? I'm not doing an oracle reading today. I got stuff to do, but I did want to talk about this. And again, remember, this is all connected. I'm not a reader, but excited for a book club and paying it forward. Oh, that's fantastic, Letty. I appreciate that. And thank you for all your texts when you share stuff with me. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. And thank you. Letty was very kind because I had someone get very, upset at me because I was forwarding. I share a lot of things going on in Palestine and in Gaza, and I share every day. And this person was like, kind of not attacking me, but questioning why I was doing that. And and Letty texted me, let me know, keep sharing. And I love that because even though I'm not creating content on that, I've decided I'm going to create a lot of the stuff I've downloaded. I'm going to put it together in a video and put it together for you guys so you can watch a lot of the stuff that I've that I've downloaded, and we'll see how long YouTube keeps it up. But ultimately, you'll see what interests me by looking at everything I repost. And I follow a lot of people. So if you're creating content that is spiritual or either spiritual, thank you for the flowers, the roses, or political, social, feel free to tag me. Feel free to ask me, and I'll definitely follow you. Believe me, I will. I'm interested in the way different people think and the way people see the world. No response to my book club yet. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's why we're going to do what we're going to do. And I think, Zale, that by doing it on Patreon, we might actually find local yokels that are part of your neck of the woods, and that could bring them back. I was near a panic attack. The energy is so static, you validated it. Yeah, no, but because you're feeling stuff. I keep going back to when Indonesia, December 2002, there was a major tsunami that killed 500,000 people, mostly children, in 15 minutes. That's a lot of fear, okay, in 15 minutes, okay? And when that happened, I remember I was sick. I could not work. I had to leave. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. And so it's a blast of energy. So what's going on in Gaza? What's going on in the Congo? What's going on in Sudan? What's going on in other places? What's going on with the 1% and their little machination that they're doing in terms of multiple things that they're doing to get at us? I've got my son who's an athlete who's exhausted. I've got people in Ireland I've got people all over the world. It doesn't matter what age you are or whatever. The exhaustion is hitting you guys. And it's because you're sponging this up. And you got to rest. And you've got to sage yourself, and you've got to work on your chakras with focused energy. I did it. I was in bed with my twin. I was working on my chakras, and then I was working on his. And then I'm going to work on my meditation now. I haven't done it yet. I'm going to meditate, and then I'm going to work on my chakras. Again, you can never do it too often because, again, even on this level, I'll pick up energy. Not that your energies is bad, but we've got some, every once in a while they're trolls. And it just, you got to keep your energies clear. And I feel like I need to sage the house today, the whole entire house. So, and that should add a new level of clear, energy. Open all the windows, sage the house, and open all the damn windows and let the energy out and go from there. But today's a beautiful day in California, and I'm surrendering to what is. I'm surrendering to what the energies want me, and many of you will become nomadic. I started becoming nomadic in 2018. Actually, no, that's not true. 2014 is when I began my nomadic lifestyle, which I don't like, just so you know. I don't, but that's what power has for me. And I have to, kind of bow down to their wisdom and to their will, because even though I can, there's a point where you manifest shit and you manifest stuff, and then you see that it's not going to work or it's not being given to you. And you have to realize that you're being corralled by power for the right place, for the right reasons. So anyway, so I'm like sitting, you might be sitting in a place of stagnation. And I have another book. By the way, my book Recall just came out. It's on Discord if you want to get it. I'm going to put it on my link tree as well, I just realized. And there's a book I have to write, a self-help book. And I was looking for self-love for men. I saw one book, and it wasn't even self-help. And I was reading the sample, and I was like, this is shit. This is absolute shit. The only book that I shared with Jake, which is public, it's on my Discord. You can check it out. You'll see it. It's called Spiritually Conscious Man by Zeus. You'll see it. Incredible book. This is for your masculines out there. And I'm realizing that the book I'm writing is both masculine and feminine. It has to be, because how can the woman be the one to heal herself? She also has to heal her masculine energy, and the masculine energy also has to heal his feminine energy. So the book has, the book I'm working on, I've been working on it for a couple of years now, has a lot of things about sexuality, because that's important. We can't ignore it. And that is, and I go back to some of the most basic things that you'll be shocked at the questions, but you need to hear them and listen to them and then respond to them. And in the response, you'll realize what is your shit and what is other people's shit that was put on you. And then we move on into more and more healing and guided meditations and things of that nature. So that book, I'm realizing the message I'm getting now more than ever, especially with Twin Flame Collective, is I've got to finish it and add chapters on the Twin Flames, and in other words, express and explain to people not just what is this, what am I going through, but what do I do with this? How do I excavate my shadows in a deep level that includes multiple things, including my sexuality, and what my parents gave me as their own hang-ups, and whatever those hang-ups were, you know what I mean? So after seeing all these books on self-love, books for women, Black women, Asian women, whatever, hundreds of books. There were 3 books that came up for self-love on men. And I realized how wrong this is, that we are not supporting the broken and divine masculine. We are not giving our divine masculines love. We are not acknowledging their pain. We're not helping them fix it. And we're expecting them to know how to do it on their own. Yet we have access to all these fucking books. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. There's something wrong, I think. Any idea when it'll be ready? I'm starting a men's healing circle. To be honest with you, what I could do, I'm not joking, is to actually finish up the masculine, because I used to do circles for, healing circles, retreats for men and women, couples. And what I could do is actually kick it up a notch and then send it to you to start working on your men's circle. I mean, just let me know, just text me, not text me, but, text me if you have my number. If you don't, email me and I'll give you my number and I can give it to you so you can start working on it. Just don't, eventually it'll be put together in a book to be self-published. And I'll be doing that rather, it looks like they're showing me March. So by March, I should be done. But the interim, let me go ahead and just give it to you so that you can actually help these men. I'm into it. Divine is directing me. Good. So it's all good. I push through anyway. Yeah, Mystic Warrior. I know, but you don't have to push through. It's bullshit, this pushing through crap. You should have access to stuff for you. So check out the book I did post for Jake. It's called, it's something like Conscious. I fucking forgot it. Just bought the book. Oh, you're amazing, love. I'm into Divine Directing. Retreat in California, that's not hundreds of dollars. The retreat in California, the one that I was doing up in Mariposa, California, was, hang on, let me tell you. Oh yeah, I was charging $650 for 24 hours. It included 3 vegan meals, chocolates, and herb teas. I had pots of teas. I would go to these antique stores and buy these beautiful, huge pots of tea. So I had pots of teas going. I was cooking. It included a book. We were in nature. So many walking and suffering, yes. So the book I'm working on, I'll let you guys know as soon as, and it'll be self-published, and I'll probably sell it on TikTok because I think that's the way to go. I'm going to have to figure out another publishing venue because I'm not a fan of Amazon at all. Meanwhile, Recall is on sale on Amazon right now. It's $11.11, $11.11. It's a chick's book, guys. Don't buy it. It's not for you. You're not going to like it. I'm just going to be very honest. It's a woman's book. It's a romance book. It's based on real reincarnation, stuff that really happened to me. And it's based on Mesopotamia, a past life I had in Mesopotamia. I had my first spontaneous past life connection with a lover I had in Switzerland. And we were both 18 years old. Hold on, I will share the link. Oh, you're so sweet. But this is a chick's book, okay, guys? This is not... Don't try to be kind and buy the book, okay? I don't want, because you'll be disappointed. Wait till I pull out the book. That's going to be the self-help book. And that book, believe it or not, Regina Meredith's husband, Zeus, right, Jen? Zeus read my manual and gave me like 19 pages of notes and loved it. He said, you write like a man. In that book, it's both masculine and feminine. He said, you write like a man. And I think for women, it's important for them to hear of. Thank you, Jen. That's very kind. It's very important for you to speak to women. Some women may need the masculine voice through the feminine lens. Does that make sense? So on that book, and it's called Yoni Healing Lingam Love. Yoni Healing Lingam Love. That will be the title of the book. That is the title of the book. So that's what's going to come out. But Water Bearer, just go ahead and hit me up. I'll see what I can put together to refine it and for the masculine, and then we'll go from there. And in the book for the masculine, because I use a lot of nudes, art, and this and that, I remember giving it to one of my clients, a masculine, and he was really triggered by the nude statues of men. It triggered him in a bad way because he had been abused by his cousin, male cousin, at 8. So we talked about it. So so I'm going to keep the book as is, Water Bearer, just so you know, because if it triggers your men's circle, just the art, it might be a good point of conversation, okay? I remember when I first did my circle, and I said, we're going to be talking about self-pleasuring. And this woman who was doing the sound healing for me said, oh, they'll never talk about self-pleasuring. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, right? And I said, watch me. And for 3 hours, we talked about self-pleasuring. We talked about what was psychologically blocking, how long it'd been since they self-pleasured. We talked about, and the next meeting we would meet every Thursday, and the meetings would last 3 to 4 hours, and in nature or in my little cabin up in Mariposa. And we would have chocolates and tea. That was our thing, sage tea. Anyway, with licorice. And long story short, what I found was that sexuality for many of us throughout these incarnations, which you can, kind of give a bow to the Catholic Church and their own edicts, okay, on that subject, has really fucked us up. And we really need to work on our root, sacral, and Harat chakra before we can even consider that the rest the solar plexus into the crown chakra will remain upright. Do you understand? That's why we keep collapsing into dark night of the souls, because we're not handling our business. Does that make sense? And sometimes that business needs to be tantric massages. And I'm not joking. My friend D Sunshine was a tantric, he was a yoga instructor. He was a lot of things. He just died on November 19th. And I tear up every time I think of him. But his twin flame said that before they became lovers, he gave her a tantric massage, which including a yoni massage. And she said she had been in menopause and it reversed her menopause. That's how powerful tantric sexual healing can be. That's how powerful we are blocked. Many of us are blocked. Okay? So that needs to be talked about before we can have circles of men and women. In other words, the circles of men and women have to include that. And everyone's going to be shifting and giggling and all that bullshit. But believe me, once we get into it, they're not fucking laughing anymore. They're crying. And then when they laugh, it's a real raucous laugh. It's a real laugh. It's a real belly laugh. It's a laugh of joy and deliverance and freedom from shame. But in the beginning, you know, that has to be, you know, if you're going to do a circle, any of you guys and any of you, ladies, guys, shamans, druides, think about that. Don't be shy of that shit. Don't like circumvent that and just talk about, well, my dad was doing this and my mom was doing that. You got to go deep in the bowels of it. And so when you look at the questions, water bearer, you'll see question, you'll go, what the fuck? and it's okay. So we'll talk about it. Many men suffering from separation, loss of contact with children. Yeah, there's bullshit going on with the angry, I'm going to call them Medusa, and toxic coping strategies such as SA, sex, alcohol, drugs. Yes, you are amazing. Thank you. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Circle by donation only. Yes, that's exactly what I did, Water Bear. I started with that's how I got into really stepping in. It was donation only. And you may also want to get yourself, try to see if you can get a sound healer and for that and kind of like see if they'll donate an extra $5 depending how many men you have, and get a sound healer to come in to do gong or crystal bowls or whatever with chimes and have them all lay down on the floor and do that as well. You need to like awaken their chakras. And Dr. Joe Dispenza calls them energy orbs for a reason, because chakras, people freak out and start thinking they'll be damned in hell, you know, shit like that. You'll be surprised. But he uses the term energy orb. It's like, so they're comfortable with it. It's fucking chi energy. I do angel frequency singing. Beautiful. All right, my friends. Anything else? Thank you for being here. And thank you, Water Bear. So you know you can contact me. I don't know if you're on my Discord, but go there. You can contact me directly there. And then we'll talk. I have a sound bath friend also. Good. Bring them in. Bring them in. Because you want all kinds of things. Okay? You want different things. All right? So that they experience a different awakening on different parts of their bodies. Also, Reginald Ray is an amazing writer, author on somatic healing, and he is really, really just powerful. And so check out Reginald Ray, and he has multiple books, somatic healing. There's one that's a guided meditation. Thank you, Mystic Warrior. I appreciate you being in the lives. I really do. Thank you for your presence and energy. Oh, you're welcome, Water Bearer. So just hit me up, and I could give you, it's more of a workbook type of deal, and it could help your men. I know that Zeus thought they were pretty damn good, so we'll see what you think. And believe me, I don't need people to kiss my ass and tell me it's great when it's shit. So let me know what you think as a man, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully we can do something so it's already pre-done. You know what I mean? And it would be on PDF, and I'd send it to you. And then just my only thing that I ask is don't fucking sell it. And don't, in other words, don't, you know, let them know that they can't copy it and give it to other people, because I am going to publish all of that. But I feel that if you need this as a tool for your masculine circles, knowing that there's nothing fucking out there, I just saw that, you know, we'll expand it, collab on the men's guide. It's a paper copy. Yes, it is. Yes, it would be a paper copy. And I have a woman's as well. And the woman's I could actually probably sell it if you guys wanted me to. And I'd probably sell it for like, I don't know, I'm thinking, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but whatever is approachable. But the thing is, we need to get people healed as soon as possible. And the only other book I would tell you, Water Bearer to buy, which I think is important, to be honest with you, is Raising Cain, Protecting the Emotional Life of Boys. Raising Cain, Protecting the Emotional Life of Boys, because I think men need to remember who they were as boys before they can go through all of it. And some of the stories in that book could elicit downloads and triggers. It's all about healing men. There are so many unaware of their trauma, wounded. I know. The other book was Iron John by Robert Bly. Yeah, that's that book. And the other book is Iron John by Robert Bly. You may want to put that on your list, including The Untethered Soul. That will be another one for men. That would be really good. And The Spiritual Conscious Man by Zeus. It's on my Discord. You can check it out. Okay? And then I'll see what I can do, because it sounds to me like I'm being pushed by the universe to put this together fast. And I've been sitting like a lump on the log, waiting for Recall to come out, because, you know, I wrote that book in 2012, and I wrote it, and I really wanted it out this year. So I'll work on that. Robert Bly, B-L-Y. I believe it's Robert Bly, but it's Iron John. The main thing is you gotta put Iron John and then Bly, and it should come up. We got this. I love you, Jen. Jen is my sister from another mother. Anything else, you guys, that you want to share? And Water Bearer, thank you so much for doing what you do. And Mystic Warrior, thank you. You know, all the divine masculines out there, we love you. We honor you, and we love your courage and your hearts. And we know that you have not been seen and heard in the way you needed to be seen and heard. And we have been those men that have been shamed, and we are now the women to give you sacred space. So just know we have your back, and that we honor you on your path as a sacred, into the sacred masculine light of your truth. You know, just know that. I'm kind of sick and tired of some of the shit that's been going on in the feminist world about really harming our divine masculines. But then when I start reading what I read in The Woman of the Alabaster Jar, the foreword on how the Catholic Church was hell-bent on shaming men and their sexuality, believe me, it goes back to that, and separating the divine masculine from the divine feminine. And it was an agenda, and an agenda continues. I mentioned that my son told me, and I won't say alphabet agency, I'm not going to say it here, but an alphabet agency has been working very hard to denigrate the masculine. And there's an agenda to do that, because the divine, look at 300, the Spartans. Did you guys ever watch that movie, The Spartans 300? Okay, watch 300. Yeah, they don't want those kinds of guys walking around on the planet anymore, because they have the 1% have their agenda. I'm being serious here. I'm not being woohoo or whatever. You start connecting the dots, and it's not pretty. So we need to raise our boys to be beautiful men in their hearts, but they're shamanic. They believe in their intuition. It's very much like a Native American. Not all tribes of the Native American were good, okay, in some aspects, but some of them had this incredible love of connection of earth, heart, and spirit, and they allowed their men to feel it, their boys to feel it. And the Druids and Druidesses in the Celtic Isles, in parts of Scotland, Ireland, and France, Gaul, which is Celtic, had that. Not all, but many. So we need to go back to that. Father presence is essential to safety, boundaries, raising girls to women. They've actually done a study where women that are raised by dads who treat them like princess, really good girls, like there's a really beautiful healing relationship with father-daughter. These girls become CEOs, and they become mathematics and mathematicians and scientists. This has been proven. The psychology of the importance of a beautiful masculine father figure in the household. And this goes for the boys as well. Boys at the age of 14 need to be with their fathers, not their mothers. And that's known. But you got to make sure that the father isn't toxic. That's the problem. And you've got to make sure that the mother's not toxic. That's the other problem. So the consciousness of raising our children is a village thing. That's probably the only thing Hillary Clinton ever did that was right, is expose the saying it takes a village. It's probably the only thing I've ever agreed with that woman. But we've lost that, and that's why we're also depressed. We've lost our ability to be in community, making bread. There are villages in Italy that still live like that. You still bring your bread to the oven. You still share bread. That's something that we're seeing with the Palestinians in Gaza, is that because they were, in an open-air prison, they are in a community. It developed a community. So they were all taking care of each other's kids. They would all step up for each other's kids. That's why to watch this is so devastating. As we witness that, we also see community. And we as a people need it. Yes, many of us are lone wolves. I say that all the time. I'm a lone wolf, but also you need community. After a while, some of us are tired of it. We need to go back alone, and I get that. But at the end of the day, our children need community. They can't just be lone wolves with us. It's not actually healthy for our children. And so we need to make sure that we surround ourselves with people who are not full of shit. I'm sorry. And just because they're family, they're your bloodlines, doesn't mean they're not full of shit. Right? We need to be discerning of who we allow in our children's lives. I'm not kidding about that. I'm not kidding. However, I also know, and I know this for a fact because I'm a reader, I'm a psychic reader, and I will have women call me, when I used to work for this company, psychic company, but call me and tell me all the things, like they were using their kids as tools to manipulate the ex-husband, or to punish the ex-husband. And that's ugly. That's ugly, and karmically it's charged with such negativity that you do shit like that as a woman or as a man, to use your children as a battling, as a human shield. There you go, I'm just going to use it. Yeah, that's not okay. It's not okay, and the universe will actually punish people who do that. I'm not kidding. It's called karma. You will not come out of that unscathed. I'll tell you that. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Father's presence is essential. Yes, indeed. Efforts to chain down our men to be less than their abilities. Yes. Collateral damage kids. Yes. And we can't do that. We have to honor our divine masculine. That if any of you guys are listening to me right now, you men and women who haven't seen that, I did a video on high priestesses that would make love to these battle weary warriors. You should check it out. I don't know what happened to us, man. It's like, I don't know. I think the patriarchal got too arrogant. I think the matriarchal aided and abetted in the toxic masculinity, and we're not out of the woods, my friends, because it's women that raise boys. Just let's not forget that one. It's women, mothers, that say, "Oh, look, she looks like a slut." How about no comment? How about say nothing? Just denigrating females, and in front of little boys or young teenage boys. We need to stop doing that kind of shit. That's not okay. Best to say nothing. Let the sun tell you. Oh, she looks like no, she's not. She's a girl. She probably needs attention. She probably has daddy issues. Go psychological on your kid if they make a comment like that. But don't make denigrating comments about other women, no matter what you think. Does that make sense? Oh, she wants all that attention. Let the kid tell you that. And then educate the kid as to why that person's doing that. Right? So, right? Somebody hurt that person to be doing that, looking like that, dressing to that level of exposure. That's somebody who's been hurt. That's not, do you understand? I don't know about you, but I'm not saying let's all wear turtlenecks, right? But I am saying usually, okay, something happened for that to be like that, for a person to turn into that. So I think we have a lot to talk about how to raise the future, because we all have a chance to actually help other mothers, and for single mothers to realize that it's not okay to prevent the father who loves their child. Can you imagine there's so many fathers who walk away on a pregnant woman? So when a father wants to be there for their child, right? You don't prevent that. You don't stop that. You support that. And you learn how to be friends with your ex, no matter what it takes. Oh, he's a F-boy. Yeah, okay. He is an F-boy. That's probably because he's had sexual abuse, because you don't become an F-boy out of nothing. And being an F-boy means that shit happened to that person. I've not yet met a man who didn't have a story that was absolutely traumatic. I don't know why women think it only happens to them. It happens to men as well. It's quite shaming. Yes, you're correct. Being mindful of what we feed the minds of our children. Every step of the way. Every step of the way. When my son was a baby, I was reading from him Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. Now, a person, and Goodnight Moon, and Harry Potter, and Beatrix Potter. The soul isn't. The soul doesn't know the difference. You know, in other words, it knows truth and beauty in words. And so whatever words you feed your child, you don't, oh my God, I'm just going to read Goodnight Moon and Beatrix Potter board books. No, you shift, you share the soul who's embodied right now in the egoic framework of a 3-month-old or a 4-month-old stories, to feed the soul, to feed the brain. Actually, you're programming the child's brain, but you're giving it something to feed on, right? Not just cotton candy for the brain. So sure, you're going to have Goodnight Moon and whatever books you like, but infuse it with some beautiful poetry. That some people would say, oh, it's adult work. They're too young. They're never too young. All right, so listen, I want to thank you again for being on this live. I really, if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be happening. This is why I haven't done my podcast, because I don't know what it is, but I feel your energies, and it really, based on your energy, I'm divinely guided to have these conversations. And we go all over the place. The last 2 boyfriends both had severe traumatic childhood experiences. So sad. Yes, it's very common. You're the best. Thank you. You're the best, Letty. And so it's very common. I'm shocked at how common it is. That the very beginnings of a boy's sexuality shouldn't have happened, for one thing, because it's a boy, a child. Just like some of us had those experiences as children ourselves. But you'd be surprised. Shockingly common. Shocking. And that breaks my heart. Because from that point on, everything they do is based on that initial trauma. That goes for women, that goes for men. And that's what we need to understand. And clearly from the self-help book on self-love for men, no, just look it up, go on Amazon. Self-love for men. Good luck. 3 books came up. You could have a bestseller by just putting your book in that directory. Bloody hell. But self-love for women, oh my God. Oh my God. It was a laundry list. I know this and needed to be reminded. Good. All right. Well, on that note, thank you. Anne says, I know this and needed to be reminded. Thank you, Letty. Thank you, Jen, Pedrita, Mystic Warrior, Water Bear. Thank you, Water Bear, especially for what you're doing for these men. And we need men like you to step up. Samantha, Zale, everybody that's here. Amada, and everyone else that's here but not saying anything. I appreciate you. Believe me, I'm so appreciative of your energy. And Luke Zero Girl, thank you. And Jen is like the best. Hit her up on Discord. She is an incredibly wise woman. I did an interview with her talk on walk-ins, which is on YouTube. Go check it out. It's brilliant. And thank you, Mystical. I appreciate you. And Josh. All right. So listen, sending you much love on your journey. I'll do a live tomorrow, believe me. And by the way, tomorrow, I hate to say it, I start my fast. And we are going to see the demons that come out of me. Hi, listening while I write. I love your content. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. That's sweet. Thank you for showing up today. Absolutely, Water Bear. Love you. I love you more. I love you more, Jen. Thank you. Hangry. Hangry. I will be hangry. All right. Take care. Namaste. Be well.